Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
Services for people with disabilities are in disarray. There's an ongoing battle for disability services to be provided where needs have been assessed. The National Federation of Voluntary Service Providers, for example, which represents a mixture of voluntary public service organisations and voluntary grant-aided bodies, has gone on the record recently to say that their ability to deliver existing services and meet the needs in their communities is seriously under threat. And these organisations provide a lot more services than the HSE does directly. The biggest issue relates to recruitment of staff, occupational therapists, speech and language therapists, physiotherapists, and other frontline and support staff. The government is not making it easy to recruit and retain skilled professionals in this area, something I've referenced myself in relation to how difficult it is to get a master's, how people have to go abroad, and also the lack of a Dublin allowance for many jobs that are so valuable and needed. And so while healthcare is often a vocation, you'll only encourage people to train here and stay here if they have a career pathway and adequate remuneration. So I note, yes, that record amounts of money have been spent in this area, but we are only running to stand still because costs are rising, wages are rising, funding has been delayed or not provided in a planned and consistent way, in a multi-annual way, so providers are constantly firefighting. And Minister, you yourself acknowledged that of the 333 million in additional funding provided in 2025, 290 million was allocated to maintain existing levels of service for people with disabilities. So where is the substantive funding for improvement? In the context of all the pressure to make services available, we're then faced with another crisis, which we're discussing tonight, and that's the delays in getting assessed in the first place. And in this respect, the list just keeps getting longer and longer. Under the 2005 Disability Act, which everyone's referred to, assessments of needs should be carried out within the 6 months of the referral to the HSE. In end of December 2024, it was 14,200 assessments of need. Now we're past the 15,000, with just over 4,000 assessments being carried out each year, and it's likely to rise further. I read today that it could be 25,000 by the end of the year, according to the HSE's own estimates. This is shocking stuff. The government is outrageously in breach of its legal obligations, as every deputy has referenced, and as of now, I don't see evidence of a pathway being carved to sort out this mess. So why hasn't this been declared an emergency for children yet, as campaigners such as Cara Darmody have called for? And why hasn't a time-limited task force been set up? We acted during COVID, we responded to Brexit, we supported thousands of Ukrainians and are mobilising in terms of a response to US tariffs, or at least we are in terms of what ministers have said. So why can't this be declared an emergency and a target set to redress the balance? I acknowledge that even with the best will in the world and all the resources at our disposal thrown at the problem, filling the vacancies, identifying additional needs and reversing growing AON waiting lists has a lead time. But does this government have a 6-month target, a 12-month target, a 3-year target that can be realistically reached? Is there any way we can outsource assessments in the short term, a bit like the National Treatment Purchase Fund, to utilise the resources of other countries for a specific period, for example? Or is this going to be tied up into the wider organisational mess that is the HSE? We're a wealthy country, we don't have unlimited pools of money, but there is a need to spend funding wisely in a targeted way. But even if the revenues continue to come in at current windfall levels, we should never be talking about tax cuts when we're putting additional costs on families in other ways. We're not looking for miracle workers here, but a systemic, incremental, recordable progress to ensure that the assessments and services are available for those who need them.
Thank you, Deputy.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.